What's going on there, YouTube world? Austin Lewis here, coming to you guys with another YouTube video. And in this video, as you guys saw, it is literally my response to Joe Rogan's $100 million deal. Now I'm gonna give you guys some tips, some facts on, did Joe Rogan win or did Spotify actually win? So, we're gonna dive into this. Before we even get into it, would you guys make sure and smash the thumbs up button? It helps the YouTube algorithm. Smash the thumbs up for Joe Rogan because he is an absolute stud. $100 million, ladies and gentlemen. I find it just showing the value of content creation that I truly believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm gonna hit you right off the bat that somebody will get offered $1 billion. And I said billion with a B, ladies and gentlemen, for content creation. Now, obviously, if you guys are unfamiliar with the situation, Joe Rogan got offered a $100 million deal with Spotify, pull all of his information off of YouTube, off of Stitcher, off of podcasts, off of Apple, iTunes, everything, and transfer all of that right over to Spotify. In fact, Spotify is actually gonna be making a video form for him to curate and create his content for his viewers that will be going onto Spotify. I think it is truly incredible. I think it is truly amazing. We're gonna kind of dive into some stats on, how much Joe Rogan made, obviously, and then obviously what was the benefit to Spotify actually doing and paying Joe Rogan $100 million. So just to give you guys a little background story and some information, Donald Sterling actually purchased the San Diego Clippers for $12.5 million way back when, right? And so I'm gonna share with you guys this analogy simply because this is essentially what Spotify is doing. So they are paying $100 million to Joe Rogan, and they're gonna be receiving X amount. They're gonna be worth X amount, right? So, Donald Sterling bought the San Diego Clippers for $12.5 million, then sold the San Diego Clippers for a whopping $2.2 billion with a B dollars. That next day, Michael Jordan was pronounced a billionaire. Now, you guys might be asking why, right? Why did he sell a team from 12.5 to 2.2 billion? And then obviously the next day, Michael Jordan was automatically a billionaire, said a billionaire. And the reason being is, it's just like if you were to buy a house. If you were to buy a house and you were to renovate the house, and renovating means, change it from carpet to tile or good flooring, and change the cabinets from, brown to changing them to white, and changing the countertops from an old piece of concrete to maybe granite, that's gonna increase the price of the house. It's common sense nowadays, right? So just put this in for example, right? You buy a house in a beautiful neighborhood that you don't know is beautiful yet, but yet you buy the house for $500,000. And across the street, somebody goes and builds a house for $1.5 million in your community. And then all of a sudden you got a bunch of houses for $1.5 million going up in your area, but you had bought your house for only $500,000 and you were once first there, but now you have a community of $1.5 million homes. Yours is only a $500,000 home. It looks beautiful, it looks gorgeous, it's got the white picket fence. Now your house is automatically worth more. Why? Because across the street, you have a house that's worth $1.5 million. So let's jump right into it. For example, guys, on the 18th, the stock price for Spotify was $169. Now, after Joe Rogan's deal has been submitted and passed and it is good to go, he's got his $100 million. Today, I actually looked at it, kind of funny, Valuetainment did a video on it. The stock was at $189. So from $169 to $189. Right now, today, it's actually currently $191 stock price. Now, the question I asked myself and just doing the preconceived notions and finding out the information and diving deep up into the details, because I was genuinely curious, did Joe Rogan walk away a winner or did Spotify walk away a winner? Did Joe Rogan walk away a winner making that $100 million? And you guys watching this might have the same question. So Joe Rogan getting paid $100 million, Spotify stroking that check over to them, their stock going from $169 to $189. 191. In a matter of a couple days, they are now worth a net worth prior to it on 5/18, and I have this statistic written down right here. On 5/18, they were worth $30.53 billion, ladies and gentlemen. Today, right now, they're over $35 billion. So we're taking a company that's evaluated at $30.53 billion and increasing that by literally $5 billion, all by making a simple $100 million decision, and that was adding Joe Rogan, the #1 podcaster in the world, to their platform and their platform only. I think I love what Spotify did here, guys, simply due to the fact that Spotify said, I'm not going after the #10 podcaster, I'm not going after the #5 podcaster, I'm going after the #1 podcaster, being Joe Rogan. And paying him that $100 million essentially is a win to him 100%. Joe Rogan, I know you're gonna be watching this. You are an absolute stud, and you just set the path for content creators like myself and like Minnie watching this video right now as well, and sharing it and smashing the like up button because it helps the YouTube algorithm. But it just set the boundary for what is possible for content creation for a man to make $100 million deal happen with Spotify. So hats off to you, Joe Rogan. And then it kind of set the bar for, you know, platforms like Spotify, like YouTube, like Instagram, like all these other platforms, iTunes and Apple Music, that, you know, it makes you wonder, right? Joe Rogan's got a manager, I would imagine, and this manager had to go to, you know, YouTube and say, hey, YouTube, we're gonna be getting a deal from Spotify for $100 million. If you pay us 200, we'll just transfer all of our information onto just YouTube. And YouTube might have had made that decision. Did they want to keep Joe Rogan on the platform and continue to earn the revenue that they make from him? Or did they think it was a bluff, right? Do they think that Spotify, there's no way, shape, or form would come up with $100 million to pay Joe Rogan? And I find what happened there very interesting, but clearly Spotify had it and they wanted to make it happen, and they just literally shook the industry. Now, for all of you wondering, you know, watching Joe Rogan on YouTube, right? Me personally, I came across Joe Rogan not because of UFC, but I watch UFC, but just due to the fact that on YouTube I was scrolling, and of course it was a suggested video of mine, and I just clicked and he was doing something with Elon Musk, you know what I mean? Doing something with Elon Musk. And I said, what the heck is this? The Joe Rogan Show. I clicked on it, and naturally I watched about 2.5 hours of content of that video. And of course, you know, I smashed the like button on the video. And then, you know, I went ahead and I went over there and clicked the notification bell and subscribed, right? So for people that, you know, he's gonna be transitioning onto Spotify, my question was, or your question might be, is the viewers going to transfer over to Spotify? And of course, the good, you know, Joe Rogan fans, of course, they're going to transfer over to Spotify and listen to his content and continue to listen to what he does in his daily podcasts. But is there going to be any newer viewers was my next question. And you know, 50-50 on that. Again, I think he's gonna get newer viewers from Spotify and Spotify itself. So that'll be interesting how Spotify, you know, they'll run ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, getting people to transfer over and say, hey, Joe Rogan's on Spotify, but he's not on YouTube. So that is obviously one thing that Spotify is gonna have to do and market the fact that Joe Rogan's on their show or on their platform. But it's not gonna be as easy for him to get as many viewerships, you know, with over 150 million downloads every single month, which is literally insane, mind you have it. It's not gonna be as easy for him to just get newer viewership, but again, his net is already so wide that I don't find that being an issue or a struggle or a problem, simply due to the fact that, you know, you and I are gonna like his show, and guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna send the link to our friends, and it's gonna grow via word of mouth. The beautiful thing that I love about what Spotify had did, or kind of, you know, milked with Joe Rogan, was the fact that Joe now doesn't have to worry about what it is that he's posting. He doesn't have to worry about what it is that he's saying. And he kind of just has free valued content that he can post out, do what he wants, say what he wants, however he wants, whenever he wants. And Spotify is not going to suppress or not going to hinder him for doing that content. So obviously you guys know on different platforms like TikTok and Instagram and all sorts of other good platforms like YouTube, you know, sometimes depending on what you say is unmonetizable, and therefore Spotify saying, hey Joe, you can post whatever content you really want to post. Again, follow our community guidelines as you can, but you are okay with doing anything that other platforms might not be all right with and still monetizing on that. Now, my honest bet is now that Spotify has shaken up the industry, a lot of content creators are like, man, that probably means I'm worth more money. And the truth of the matter really is, now that he got his $100 million deal, you are absolutely right. The content creators out there that are absolutely crushing and killing the game, they are now worth more money just due to the fact of the brand deal that Joe Rogan got at $100 million. So without further ado, the market has been set. People know that what they are worth. They know that if Joe Rogan can go out there and land a $100 million deal being the content creator that he is, that there's gonna be hundreds of other individuals, that platforms like Spotify, like Apple Music, like YouTube, like different platforms are going to essentially pick up and only allow them and or only require them to post their specific niche content on their platform, where obviously, as you see, it is a win-win. Spotify went from $30.53 billion to now worth over $35 billion with a $100 million investment. If I were to tell you, I'll give you $100 and it will turn into $5,000, would you do it? Absolutely. And that's exactly what these other platforms like Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Music and YouTube are going to be taking a look at. They're going to be looking at capitalism, the money, right? The money. So just understanding that and understanding that now they know they can give us $100 and be worth $5,000 makes all the sense in the absolute world. So the content creation bar has been set high. It has been set at $100 million. My projection is that some content creator in the next 5 years will get a $1 billion contract, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys haven't got some value from this video, then you guys better call yourself it's crazy. Just kidding. But if you guys would do me a favor, make sure and smash the thumbs up button on this video. Make sure and go subscribe if you guys are brand new. Drop in the comment section below what you guys are thinking on the Joe Rogan $100 million Spotify deal. I'd be curious to see, do you think somebody in the near future will get a $1 billion contract? I guess we'll see as well. Austin Lewis here saying thank you guys for showing up here. Thank you for staying to the very end of this video, and we'll see you guys in some future videos.